was heading to turn this way.
On the country club?
And as soon as I did, they swiped my right front end.
Okay, and where were they coming from?
Right on this road. They were
They
going
were
left
on
that way.
country club?
Yes, sir.
Turning left.
Correct.
So you were turning left on the country club.
He bought the motorcycle the day before. One day. That's all the time he got with it. And on the night of April 1st, 2026, a 27-year-old Army veteran was lying in the middle of an intersection in St. Charles, Illinois, while the person who put him there had already driven away. But here's the part that changes everything about this story. When police found the driver less than a mile from the scene, she wasn't fleeing.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If that car is making a left and you're making a left, it would have been a front end damage or it would have been your driver's side. So how's your passenger side?
She was standing next to a wrecked Jeep SUV that had crashed through a fence and come to rest inside a golf course. And she had an explanation ready. A very specific one. The problem, the physical evidence made it impossible. This case barely made national news, but it should have.
You're under arrest for DUI.
Thank you.
Put your hands on your back.
I'll text you soon, okay?
If you're new here, we cover real investigations like this every week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. It's 10:52 p.m. on a Wednesday. The intersection of Country Club Road and North 5th Avenue in St. Charles, Illinois, isn't the kind of place you'd expect anything to happen. It's a quiet suburb, the kind of corner where the streetlights feel almost unnecessary. Calm, predictable, ordinary. Then the sirens started. Within minutes, first responders arrived to a scene that stopped them cold.
Carl, where you at? I'm at Country Club.
A motorcyclist was down in the roadway. Around him, debris and no second vehicle. The driver was gone. Victim background. His name was Ryan Hresil. He was 27, an Army National Guard veteran, a diesel mechanic by trade. The people who loved him would later describe him the same way, over and over. Not just someone they liked, but someone they relied on, the kind of presence that a room notices when it's gone. He had purchased that motorcycle the day before the crash. One day, paramedics got him to Northwestern Medicine Delnor as fast as any crew could, but the injuries he sustained were catastrophic. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Witnesses at the scene told officers they had watched a white Jeep SUV turn suddenly left directly in front of the motorcycle, and then, without stopping, without checking, the driver just kept going. Ryan was left alone in that intersection. Investigation begins. The moment it was confirmed Ryan was dead, this stopped being a crash call. It became a hunt. St. Charles patrol units saturated the surrounding neighborhood immediately. Officers broadcast a description over radio: white Jeep SUV, fresh collision damage, possibly a flat tire. The vehicle couldn't have gotten far, and within minutes, they found it. A white Jeep had blown through a chain-link fence bordering the local golf course and come to a stop somewhere in the dark past the tree line. The front passenger side of the vehicle was caved in. One of the front tires was completely shredded. Standing near the wreck was a 29-year-old woman from West Chicago. Her name was Morgan Mroz. First evidence. She was already talking when the officer walked up. According to Mroz, she had been driving home from a friend's house in South Elgin when another vehicle came out of nowhere and hit her.
Okay, so what happened?
I was turning left and somebody completely sideswiped, hit the tail end of my front right, and
Okay, where were they turning from?
from right there, this road right here, turning left, and I was turning left as well, and I had the right of way. I had the right.
Did you have a green light, a red light?
I had a green light. I had a green steady light, and I was coming from that way. Turned left.
So you were on
and they
Country
swiped
Club?
me.
Or you were on...
I was on 25, or is that 31? I'm sorry.
Okay, you were on 25 heading
Yes.
north or south?
That was south, correct?
Towards St. Charles and the
Yes.
south. Okay.
She described it as a side-swiping T-bone, a dark-colored SUV or hatchback that clipped her front passenger side while she was in the middle of a left turn. She said she had a steady green light. She said she had the right of way. She said the other driver caused the whole thing. She kept saying it. The officer listened, asked clarifying questions, let her talk, and the more she talked, the worse it got.
I was heading to turn left this way,
On the country club?
and as soon as I did, they swiped my right front end.
Okay, and where were they coming from?
I'm right on this road. They were
They
going
were
left
on
that way.
country club,
Yes, sir.
turning left.
Correct.
So you were turning left on the country club from
So I was
southbound
coming
25.
from this way. Coming
So
left
you
side of
weren't.
this road.
This is country club though.
Okay.
So give me a second here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so frazzled. I finally just got on the phone with the police officer. I'm like shaking up.
She couldn't keep the roads straight. She mixed up Country Club Road and Route 25, then corrected herself, then corrected the correction. She pointed to squad car lights and called them traffic signals. The direction she claimed to be traveling didn't match the damage on her own vehicle. The officer didn't interrupt. He just kept asking her to explain it again. Suspect introduction. Morgan Mroz was 29 years old. She was visibly shaken. That part was real. She kept trailing off mid-sentence, apologizing, cycling through requests for an ambulance she didn't seem to actually want.
I'm going to need an ambulance for this driver for an anxiety attack, and I'm also going to need a tow out here. And for the record, we are in
You know
In
what?
the
That's
actual
okay.
golf
I'm
course.
sorry. I just have such bad.
the. You want an ambulance or
I
not?
do not need one. I'm sorry.
Try come 1310. You can disregard the
I'm so
ambulance.
sorry. I do have
Okay.
bad anxiety.
On the surface, she looked like someone who had just survived something. But the officer had already been briefed. A motorcyclist was dead. A white Jeep had been broadcast over radio. The vehicle behind him matched exactly. What he needed now was a story that made sense. Mroz's didn't. Interrogation. Here's the moment the officer caught her. If Mroz had been turning left from southbound Route 25 onto Country Club Road, exactly as she described, then any vehicle hitting her from the opposing direction would have struck her driver's side. The physics are not complicated. That's just geometry.
This is Country Club. You're trying to make a left on the Country Club, which is this road right here
Okay.
where my squad car is parked.
So right here is 25, correct?
No, this is Country Club.
2139 dog.
And this is 25?
25 is over there.
34819.
Okay, so then I may have the road names wrong. However, I was coming from this road.
But the damage on her Jeep was concentrated on the front passenger side. When the officer walked her through this, step by step, Mroz's response wasn't confusion. It wasn't a correction. She looked at him and said, flatly,
But I know what happened, so.
Okay. And nobody else was in the vehicle when
No, not a
the
single
accident
soul,
occurred?
no.
Okay. And where are you headed to?
Home. And I'm gonna freak out if I don't get there.
How old were you?
I'm 28.
28.
The officer asked her if she had been drinking. She said no. He asked about drugs or any substances that could affect her driving. She said no again.
Okay. Have you had anything to drink tonight, ma'am?
I'm not.
Nothing?
Nope.
Have you had any drugs or any substances that would make you impaired?
No, sir.
Then he asked her to take field sobriety tests. She refused. Instead, she said she needed an ambulance for her anxiety. Then she changed her mind and said she didn't need one. Then she asked for one again.
She wants to go to the hospital for anxiety attacks.
Okay. Single driver, no passengers.
Allegedly no passengers, yes.
No,
Yep.
I'm actually okay on the hospital.
Okay. Are you wanting to do field sobriety test?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And while all of this was happening, while she was cycling through requests and denials and apologies, the officer made a decision.
Under arrest for DUI.
Thank
Put your
you.
hands behind your back.
I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Do you want to be checked out?
No.
Okay.
While Mroz was being walked out through the gap in the broken fence, officers turned their attention to the inside of her Jeep. They expected crash evidence, deployed airbags maybe, personal belongings scattered from impact, the kind of debris a collision leaves behind. They found that, And then they found something else. Empty cans of alcoholic seltzer were spread throughout the vehicle. That alone wasn't nothing, but then an officer located a small plastic sandwich bag tucked inside the wreck, white powder visible through the plastic. Next to it, rolled up dollar bills coated in the same residue. A field test was performed on site. Cocaine. Morgan Mroz had been behind that wheel with alcohol in her system, cocaine in the vehicle, and a motorcyclist left in the road behind her. She had driven away from that intersection, crashed through a fence, and stood in the dark telling a police officer a story she may have genuinely believed or may have been building in real time. The evidence had already decided which one mattered. Hours later at the hospital, a mandatory blood draw was conducted. Mroz had refused a breathalyzer at the scene. That refusal meant nothing now. The results came back. Blood alcohol content of 0.13. The legal limit in Illinois is 0.08. She wasn't slightly over the line. She was nearly twice over it, driving a Jeep through a residential intersection at almost 11 p.m. on a Wednesday night. And while investigators were processing that number, prosecutors pulled something else. Morgan Mroz had done this before. Court records out of Kane County revealed a 2019 conviction in Carpentersville, Illinois. 7 years ago, Morgan had crashed her vehicle into a mailbox, a fire hydrant, a large rock, and a tree in a residential neighborhood. She had been convicted. She had presumably faced consequences. She had been given, in the words of the assistant state's attorney who would later stand before a judge, a chance to learn. That chance had now cost Ryan Hresil his life.
After the arrest at the golf course, the processing was quiet. Morgan asked how long she'd be in before seeing a judge. She asked if there would be someone to talk to. She asked the officer if he promised she wouldn't be in there for a long time. She sounded scared, and maybe she was, but somewhere across town, a family had just been told their son, the Army vet, the diesel mechanic, the one they counted on, wasn't coming home either, and he hadn't gotten to ask anyone anything.
You promised I won't be in there for like a really long time, right? You promised I won't be in there for like a really long time before I hear my court hearing?
Yeah, no, like I said, we'll see the judge tomorrow and then later this morning, and it'll be up to him or her on what happens.
Charges. The Kane County State's Attorney's Office approved multiple felony charges against Morgan Mroz. The list was not short. Failure to report a crash involving death, aggravated DUI causing death, reckless homicide, possession of a controlled substance. Each charge carried its own weight. Together, they reflected the full picture of what had happened at that intersection. Not an accident that happened to Morgan Mroz, but a series of choices she had made before she ever turned that wheel. Detention hearing. At the detention hearing, the judge considered everything on the table: the blood alcohol level, the cocaine, the prior conviction, the crash, the fact that she had left, the fact that she had stood next to a wrecked Jeep and told a story that didn't survive 30 seconds of scrutiny. The prosecution asked the court to hold her without bond. Their argument was simple. There was no monitoring device, no ankle bracelet, no condition of release that could guarantee the safety of everyone else on the road. The judge agreed. Verdict. Morgan Mroz was remanded into custody with no bond. She would remain behind bars as the case moved forward. As of the time of this upload, charges are pending, and the case is proceeding through the court system in Kane County, Illinois. Ryan Hresil's family is left to carry something no family should ever have to carry: the knowledge that it didn't have to happen, that it had already almost happened before, that the one thing standing between Ryan and that night was a choice someone else made and didn't make right. Ryan Hresil bought that motorcycle on March 31, 2026. He rode it once. He was 27 years old, a veteran, a mechanic, the person his people counted on. He had made it through military service and come home, built something, meant something to people, And on the night of April 1st, at a quiet intersection in suburban Illinois, all of it ended in less than a second. 1 day to own it, less than a second to lose everything. Some choices echo forever. The people who make them move on. The people left behind don't get that option. Ryan Hresil deserved more than 1 day. He deserved a lot more than that. If you want to see more cases like this, subscribe. We upload new documentaries every few days.